Now let's talk about the verb. Let's start with verb. Another part of the speech is called what? Verb. What is a verb? فعل چی هستند؟ فعل is a word. Huh? What is verb? Come on, tell me guys. Tell me the definition of a verb. A word, okay? It is a word which is, which is used to show what? Action or what? State. Action or state. It is a word which is used to show an action or a state, okay? So we can call that, so what? That is a verb. فعل in Persian, what do we say فعل؟ کلمه است که چی نشان میده؟ یا عمل نشان میده یا حالت نشان میده. For example, you speak English. Which one is the verb here? Huh? Speak is the verb. حالت چی نشان میده؟ چی نشان میده؟ عمل گپ زدن نشان میده. Yes? I am teaching grammar. So I am teaching grammar. Which is the verb? Teaching is the verb. So what is this? The verb here? Teaching. Yes? Or if I say she is what? She is happy. She is happy. What does it show? Or for example, I know you. Which is the verb? No. Huh? He was delighted. Which is the verb? Delighted or was? Was. It shows the state. So a verb is a word which is used to show a state or an action. What do we call that? That's called a verb. It shows a state or an action. Now, these are some of the examples. Like I'm walking here. What is this? Walking is the verb, okay? You listen to me. What is the verb? Listen, okay? You write something. What is the verb? Write. She cleans the class. Yes? He prepares the report. Prepare, okay? Now, they are used to show what? Action or state. Now, we will focus on the kinds of what? The kinds of verbs. So, how many verbs do we have? Can you tell me the kinds of verb? What are the kinds of verb, okay? The types of verb. So, we'll talk about the types of verb. The verb is divided in how many parts? Come on, tell me. We have, number one, we have what? Ordinary verb. Or we can also call it what? Main verb. What is the next one? The next one we have what? We have auxiliary verb. Or what do we call that? Come on, tell me. Helping verbs. I think you have never heard these things before. Yes or not? So the main verb. I will write the chart first. Okay, that's number one. This is number two. So the verbs are divided in how many parts? Two parts. Now this verb is divided in some parts. Number one, we talk about what? Transitive verb. We will study. Number two, we have what? Intransitive. Number three, we have what? Linking verb. Number four, what do we have? Stative verb. Number five, what do we have? Phrasal verb. Yes or no? Okay. And what about the auxiliary verb? Let's write the auxiliary verb, the kinds and types of auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verb is divided in how many parts? We have, tell me, okay. Number one, we have principal. Number two, we have model. And number three, we have what? Semi-model. Semi-what? Model. Now, so principal one is divided in how many parts? Three parts. What are those? We have to be, yes. We have to do. And we have see, to what? To have. What about model? The model are divided in how many parts? Model. We have can't, could, may, might, should or shall, should, will, would, must, ought. What do we call them? They are the modal auxiliary verbs. We also have semi-modal. What are the semi-modal? We will talk about it. We have need to, we have dare to, come on, we have need to, dare to, used to. Yes? These are the kinds of which verbs? Auxiliary verbs. And these are the kinds of which one? The main verbs or ordinary verbs. We'll talk about all of them. We'll talk about the transitive verb, intransitive verb, linking, stative, phrasal verb. And we'll also talk about the principal. Principal verbs are to be. What are the to be verbs? Is, am, are, was, were. To do. Do, does, did. To have. Have, has, and had. We'll talk about the usages and each and every one of them one by one. So let's start with the first one. Which one is the first one? The first one, we will start with ordinary verb or the main verb. We'll start with the transitive verb. So let's start with the first one. What's the first one? We have the transitive verb. Ordinary verb. Which ordinary verb? The transitive verb. So can you tell me a transitive verb, the definition of a transitive verb? What is a transitive verb? A transitive verb is a verb that takes what? Takes an object. A verb that takes what? An object. What verb? What do we call that? That's called the transitive verb. For example, I teach. So what do I teach? English. So which one is the verb? The verb is what? Teach. Which one is subject? I. Verb. What is English? Object. English. I teach English. If I say I teach, does it make sense? Is it complete? No. I teach English. So I teach English. Yeah, so it needs object. Without object, it's incomplete. The verb that takes object is called a transitive verb. That's why we have two kinds of them. Can you tell me that those two kinds of transitive verb? We have, the first one is called monotransitive. The second one is called what? Ditransitive verb. What is the mono? Mono is taken from what? One. What's mono? Mono means what? One. The monotransitive verb takes only what? One object. Like what? Give me an example. Look. If you give me an example, he writes. He writes a letter. Which one is the subject here? He. Which one is the verb? Writes. Huh? So here, if we say he writes a letter, now here, what is the letter? The letter is what? An object. So if the letter is an object, now here in this case, is it one object or two objects? It's one. It's called mono, transitive verb. Mono takes what? Only one object. Or tell me another example. You clean the room. Which one is the subject here? You clean the room. The subject here is what? You. Which one is the verb? Clean. Which one is the object? Room. Is it complete? Sorry, is it one object or two objects? It's one object. So we can say this is mono. Mono means one. Or for example, if I say he broke the glass. What is the verb here? Broke. Which one is the object here? Glass. He broke the glass. Okay. So does it have one object or two objects? So one object. Now, for the next one, we have the ditransitive verb, or we can also call it double transitive. Double means what? Two. So here we have two kinds of object, in this case. So one object is direct object. First one is direct. The other one is what? Indirect object. We have direct object and what? Indirect object. If we have double, for example, if I say he sent me a letter. He sent me a letter. Which one is the subject here? He. Which one is the verb? Sent. Me is object. Letter is object. Now, he sent me a letter. We have two objects here. Yes or no, okay? Now, there are two objects. What kind of verb is sent? What about sent? What kind of verb is this? The sent is die transitive verb or mono transitive verb? Sent, it's mono. Die. Why? Because there are two objects. Now, so from these two objects, I said one is direct object, the other one is indirect object. So which one is a direct object? Can you tell me? So a direct object is directly affected by the verb. An indirect object is not directly affected by the verb. Now here, and he sent me a letter. Which one is directly affected by the verb? It means, the action happens on which one of them? Sending happens on me or letter? You send the letter, you send me. He sent the letter or he sent me? So here, action of sending happens on what? Letter. So the letter is what object? This is the direct object. This is the direct object. What about me? It's a what object? Indirect object. We have the direct object and we have what? The indirect object. Or another one. If I say, he bought his brother a car. Which one is the subject here? He. Which one is the verb? Bought. Which one is the object? His brother and also a car. You can say he bought his brother a car, or you can say he bought a car for his what? Brother. Now there are two objects. So which one is the direct object, which one is the indirect object? You have to recognize. Now here, yes, very nice. Okay, he bought his brother a car. Now buying happens on the brother or car? He bought the brother or he bought the car? Car. So the car here is what? It's the direct object. This is what? Indirect object. Or if I say another one, okay? She gave you a phone. She gave you a phone. Which one is the subject here? She. Which one is the verb? Give. You is what? Object. Phone is also object. Now you got to tell me which is the direct object, which is the indirect object. Why? Action of giving happens on you or on the phone? So she gave you a phone. It's called the what object? Direct object. So we talked about a verb. A verb is a word which is used to show an action or a state. And we have two kinds of verb. We have the main verb or ordinary verb. We have the auxiliary verb, or what do we call that? Helping verb. So we talked about the main verb, the first one, which is called the transitive verb. A transitive verb is a verb that takes object. We have two kinds of them. We have mono and we have die or double. Mono means one, it has only one object. Die or double means it has two objects. From these two objects, which one is the direct object, the other one is what? Indirect object. And these are the examples.